Creating and using general tables. In addition to the master mailing list and categories, the A-Label program allows you to create your own general database tables that can have virtually any structure you desire. General tables are defined by you and contain data that can be printed on custom designed item templates. In other words, general tables are used when you need to print more than just address labels or envelopes. General tables are normally used with custom label designs. What we are calling a general table can have as many columns as you need, where each column is also named by you. The data in your columns can be of any type, such as a number or a date, or anything else you can type as a string. In fact, general tables only contain strings as their true underlying data type. To create a new general table, you open the database menu and select the General Database Tables submenu. This will open a window that operates similar to the initial Categories submenu. To create a new general table, you must click the button with the caption, "Create a new table." This will open a new window in which you must enter a name for your new table. All general table names must be distinct from each other. A general table name must begin with a letter A to Z and must not contain spaces or punctuation characters. We suggest you keep your table names short and enter them in camel case. In fact, this is good advice for naming everything that needs a name anywhere in the A-Label program. We are going to name our new example table as Employee Roster. After entering the new table name, you must fill out the creation grid that will define your columns. Columns are also called fields, and a name for a column can also be referred to as a field name. Each row in the creation grid has two entries. The first entry should be the name of the column, and the second entry should be the maximum number of characters you will ever type in for data in that column. This number is also called the field width or the field length. Our first column will be named Employee Name, and we will make it 30 characters wide. Our second column will be named Employee ID Number, and we will make it 8 characters wide. The third column will be named Telephone Extension, and we will make it just 4 characters wide. To add a fourth column, we leave the cursor on the last row in the grid and click the button with the caption, "Insert a new row below." We will name the fourth column Job Title, and we will make the field width 20 characters wide. Making a larger value than what you need just wastes space, but you will want to start with a sufficiently large number that will accommodate your data. In the master mailing list, we used 30 characters for columns that contain the name or the street address, but we used only 2 characters for the 2-letter state abbreviations. The nature of your data will dictate how wide you should make a given column. Generally speaking, the order of the columns you define is not important, but the order listed by going down the rows in the creation grid will be the order you will read going across by column. Most people make the first few columns their key data that will always be significant when you read down the rows of the actual data. The names you give each column will appear with a yellow background at the top of each column when you work with the table. Although you should write your column names in camel case, once your general table is created, the column names will appear in all uppercase letters. The 3 buttons to the right of the creation grid are used to help you manage that grid. You can insert new rows or delete a row from the grid as needed. Again, your general table can have as many columns as you desire. When you are finished filling out the creation grid and the table name, you can click the button to create the new table. The program will close the creation window and it will create your new table and open a new window that shows your new table. Of course, the first time you see your new table, it will be empty. We are going to type in all the information for a new entry. To create a new entry in this table, you should click the plus button in the Navigator tool. Note that the cursor will land in the first column and an asterisk character appears on the far left. We will type Bob Brown for the employee name, and we will type 65234 as the employee ID number. The telephone extension is entered as 8715 and the job title will be Shipping Supervisor. When you are finished typing in the data, you must click the Post Edit checkmark button in the Navigator tool to make your editing changes permanent. The asterisk character will change to a right-pointing triangle symbol. This triangle symbol is used to denote the current row in the table. The only restriction on entering data is that each row of data should be distinct from all other rows. In other words, you should avoid having duplicate rows. The Database Navigator toolbar that appears in the center below your new table grid will help you navigate and work with your table. There is always a currently selected row in the table that is marked by a small right-pointing triangle in the leftmost column. You should also note that your general table has one extra column that you didn't define. That column is the tag column, and it works for your general table as it works for the master mailing list and categories. The tag column should only contain the capital T letter when a row is tagged, and it should otherwise be blank when a row isn't tagged. Tagging rows is just a means of selecting rows for some future operation, such as printing or saving or deleting. When you close down your table, you will be back in the main program window. To reopen that same table, you should first select Database and then General Database Tables. You will first see a list of all your general tables. You need to click on the row that you want to use and then click the button to use the selected table. Now we are going to open a different general table that we have created and named Academy Awards. As you can see, this table contains a list of years and best actors and best actresses and best directors and best pictures for some Hollywood movies. We would like to explain how to print this data, but keep in mind the process we are demonstrating with this particular data could be applied to any general table. After you have created a new general table and added all the data to the table, you will be prepared to do some printing with that data. There are basically only two kinds of printing that you can do. If you select the File menu, you can see where you could print the tagged entries as a table list. This is the simplest kind of printing you can do because it almost mimics the table list that you see. The more sophisticated kind of printing is to print the tagged entries using a DB mapping. Another video will explain how to create and use a DB mapping to print data on a general label design. Here we will show how to simply print parts of a table as a list. So select File, print the tagged entries as a table list. The program will open a window in which you can see a list of all the data fields in the first column. The second column contains a number of inches from the left edge of the paper where you want to print each particular column. The third column describes the type of alignment for the given print position. The alignment must be one of left, center, or right. As the instructions indicate, if you don't want to print a column, All you need to do is set the number of inches to 0.0 for that column, and this means that column will be omitted from the printing process. Now, the more interesting observation is that you have the flexibility of changing the order in which the columns get printed if you just mix up the second column print positions. You don't have to print the columns in the same left to right order as they appear when you see the table. As an example, we are going to use the Academy Awards table to print a simple list in which the Best Picture appears first, followed by the Best Director, and we will finish with the year that particular picture won Best Picture. Since we are printing 3 columns, we will demonstrate the 3 different kinds of alignment. The first column will be left aligned, the second column will be center aligned, and the third column will be right aligned. So we're going to first enter year, make the print position 5.50 with a right alignment. We'll put Best Actor as 0.0 and Best Actress as 0.0 because these 2 columns are not going to be printed. We'll put Best Director at position 4.00 with center alignment, and we'll put Best Picture at position 1.50 with left alignment. When the printing takes place, you should see the following list as the final output. Note how the Best Director is centered in the middle column. It turns out the year is also right aligned. To summarize, this video has demonstrated how to create a general table and how to edit data in the table. It has also shown an example of how to print the data as a simple list. Another video will demonstrate how to set up and use a database mapping file to do a more general kind of printing on any type of a label design.